But when the people come in together as a team and they do their magic, like you see it on TV. You can't tell that it's a paper structure.
Hi, I'm Zena Harris, a founder and entrepreneur working in the entertainment industry for more than 10 years now.
And I'm Mark Raven, a two-time founder and innovator in the energy tech industry and spent the last decade powering films, events, and festivals with renewable energy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the tie-in. Today, we are speaking with Karmen Hansen. She is the owner of Nordwerk Design Incorporated, a German-Canadian sustainable design and architecture studio founded with Maximilian Hansen. Karmen, welcome to the
Hi.
tie-in.
Thank you for having me.
Hi,
So,
Carmen. Yeah,
Hi.
so good. Zena's mentioned you many times in your product, so really looking forward to learning more about that. So just starting from the beginning, Nordwerk started in Germany in 2012, and you're now operating globally out of Vancouver. So
Correct.
how
Mhm.
how does that come about? And also, yeah, how did you stumble into the film industry as well? So there's a lot of different angles going on there because I know you guys do a lot of
Gosh.
different trade shows and different
Yeah.
applications.
So my husband Max, he started everything back in 2012 with his buddy, and they are engineers by trade, and they were just experimenting to see how to build lightweight structures, um, organic structures, and so they were just experimenting, and they stumbled upon all sorts of paper materials because they wanted to make things more sustainable. So they were curious about the material and to see how far they would push it. And from there, from a little workshop from the university rooms that they had, cutting things with a jigsaw, that's how they started, to within a couple years, they started working with bigger companies that started making trade shows. And that's where he met this paper manufacturer in Germany that makes ICB, which is inverted corrugated board. And that's the general term for the material that we use. And that's where he discovered, oh, there's a very, very strong paperboard that they can use to build things. And in process, they learned that this material is actually used in many applications, whether it be in cars or planes, all sorts of things. Of course, people don't know this because people are like, why are you putting paper in an airplane? But because it is very lightweight and very strong. And so from there, he started doing more and more events. And it wasn't until 2016 that I got to join the party. And that's when I was discovering the material for myself through the previous owner that I worked with. He had a contact that wanted to bring it from Asia to here. And so we started the shop with the intention of building sustainable furniture, items, and toys and different things for kids and to really teach them about sustainability. And from there, we learned that it's a better application in a public setting. And so we did trade shows, and that's when I found Max. I started searching online who's doing this. At the time, 10 years ago, there was very, very few people who knew about the material or even using it. And so it was online that I found his product that we wanted to use in a cafe. And so from there, that's how we started talking. And we got to see how big the structures are that he builds. And at the time, I think the largest structure he built was about 2,000 square feet, where it was a self-sustaining, self um, held up structure without tie-ins to anything. And it was incredible just what they built there for the store in Dresden, Germany. It's still standing. People kept it up. Even though the original owners of the store has left already. It was a fancy, fancy sneaker store. um, but yeah, people just love the structure so much they just kept it up in the place. And so it's still standing there. And yeah, and we brought his expertise here to North America, and we're like, "Hey, we wanna build the same things here." We got to work with companies like Volvo and Microsoft and build really big structures here, and that was a lot of fun. And so we went from using just regular ICB to what we are using now, which is Reboard from Sweden. And we ended up choosing this company mainly because of how clean they are. And we learned in the process about FSC standards, how they work, all these different things that people throw around in the sustainability arena, only for us to realize, wow, like FSC is very different country to country. And we have to be careful what paper we're using, even though it has that label. And so we switched from the material that we used to use here in Canada, which was coming in from Asia. And then we switched to the German material, which was about 60% recycled fibers, to Reboard, which is 100% virgin fibers. And there's a reason for why we still choose it, even though it's not recycled fibers, is because of the stiffness and the accuracy in how they create their material. There's no very few variations within the board that allows Max to really engineer it to the way he needs it to be, down to the millimeter. And so that kind of accuracy doesn't exist for all brands of ICB out there, but also just how they treat forestry in Sweden. We got to visit the forest. That was quite the trip, actually. We went in 2023 or 2022, and we got to meet a forest owner in Sweden, and he talked about how he manages the forest. So we got to see how Rebord chooses their paper and manufacturer, what they manufacture, and how paper is made in Sweden. And because of seeing the process from beginning all the way to the end, it really convinced us this is the best material out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what types? So I have a little sample here so people can see what we're
Hmm.
talking about.
Yeah.
You were so gracious to give me a box of samples, but you know, I'm thinking of the film and TV industry because that's what I have experience in. And when I see stuff like this,
Yeah.
I immediately think of it as a substitute for Luan, which is a rainforest hardwood from Southeast Asia, which is prevalent on film and TV sets.
Okay.
Is that, and it's kind of like, 4x8, kind of plywood
Hmm.
like wallboard. Is that the kind of thing that you're trying to replace or substitute for? Or like what kind of applications are you using this wallboard for?
Well, the for backdrops, like you indicated, it's very efficient and easy because you can put wallpaper up, you can plaster it, you can do all sorts of things to this material, just like with Luan, and it would give the same effect. The advantage of this board is that it's very lightweight. So anybody who needs to move it around, shift things, put it up, it makes it a lot easier for anyone to jump in and do it. And on a health and safety standpoint, it's also better for the person who's doing it, the carpenter and all the people, all these experts who put up these sets. It's better for their health as well and safety. But for us, because Max is an engineer, we don't want to just do backdrops. We are more than happy to sell material to people just to make backdrops and ceilings and things, but because of his background, we love building the structures and we love building props. So we see this as a replacement actually for not just Luan, but also for wood structures and different things like that because it is so structural. So that's where we see that we can push the limits of the material and we're still exploring actually.
Yeah. And then part of the selling feature as well, though, is that this can be completely recycled through the traditional cardboard recycling chains.
That is correct, and that I've checked with, the recycle programs here. This material can just go into your plain blue box. It can be crushed. I've used it in the convention center where we built an entire structure. We tore it down within half an hour, and it all went into the blue bin at the convention center. They just crushed it in their cardboard structure, like cardboard crusher, and that was it. That was the end of it. And we knew that this was just gonna go back into the system and make new paper. And so I think for the client and for us, it it's very satisfying to know that this isn't going into the dump.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's, a big part of the waste stream for film and TV sets. And I'm sure, you've got experience in trade shows and whatnot, but seeing the wood material um, kind of broken down, crushed, and put into a wood bin
Mhm,
is just, a lot of people feel it. It's quite heartbreaking to see
mhm,
that. And of course, we want to reuse as much as possible. And this
mhm,
is material that can actually, this can also be reused, but you can
mhm.
also recycle it. So there are multiple good alternatives for this as well.
That's correct, and we find that even when because time is always an issue, especially in film, if people are quickly disposing of it, that's not gonna sit in the landfill for 100 years. Like, it'll disintegrate, it'll compost, and it'll go back into the ground without causing issues. So I think, not just that it is recyclable, but due to time, because people just don't have the luxury of taking care of things properly, I think a lot of times. Um, for me, I rather this sitting in the landfill than a piece of plastic.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Mhm,
Um,
That's true.
yeah,
Um,
I guess if it has paint on it or other kind of materials, pasted to it, that would
mhm.
affect its decomposition.
Yes. And so usually at the end of trade shows, if we have used a laminate or a wrap on it, we peel it off. This goes into recycling. The laminate goes into the like where it needs to go, just because of the chemicals within those substances.
Yeah.
mhm, mhm. And I know one of the last conversations that we had, you kind of enlightened me to this whole world of trade shows. Can you help explain, just the sheer, you know, costs that might be involved in the savings and the opportunity then by using this material in that trade show process? Because I really had no idea kind of the nitty-gritty of and the nuance, that you were talking about. So this is
Mhm.
quite fascinating.
So yeah, and that's where a majority of our experience is in both Europe and North America, where we get into everything from the creation of the object to the shipping of it, and then building it on site and then taking it down. What we've seen is that we've had clients come back to us and they are surprised because they find the savings after the show. They realize the shipping was less because the material is lighter. They are not charged serious fees of bringing it into the convention center. So many people don't know this, but when you do a trade show and you have a booth, um, when you bring in your pallet of your booth, you are charged in certain convention centers according to weight. So depending on how heavy your booth is, they will weigh it and tell you this is going to cost you this much because your pallet is this heavy. I've had customers tell me previously they paid tens of thousands of dollars just to bring in the booth to their location for the convention. And it costed them upwards of $20,000, $30,000 just to bring it in. And this was like in Vegas. This was a show in Vegas. And because these shows are so big, they're charging every person and they're weighing every single pallet before it even gets into the show. So that's one of the fees that people didn't even realize until they actually do a trade show. And then once we're building, and I've worked with many tradespeople and also union people, they find this material a lot easier to work with. So for them, they're putting up an entire wall, an entire booth within hours compared to other materials that would take days just because of weight and how you have to anchor everything. So there's an efficiency to this material that is unseen until you calculate all the costs at the end of the show. Because depending on whether you're saving the booth or not, any structure that we've built, we've taken down within an hour, because it is so easy to take down. And even if we are building walls that we are saving for later, we can take that down very quickly, pack it up, and it's ready to go again. And so we're seeing a lot of advantages in both the installation, the transport, and also taking it apart. Like at every level, you see savings that people don't realize. Because I think for many people, when they see the sticker price initially, they're like, why is this so expensive? Well, this is a very good material that we have to import because we don't make it here in North America.
Not yet.
And not yet. And so so we need to bring it in, and that's part of the cost of the material. And to engineer it takes a lot of specialization, and to cut it requires special equipment. And so just all these little things add up in cost. However, at the end of the day, the savings come in all the other areas people don't expect.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you talk to us about the application of it in film and TV? Like what sets has it been on that I know folks might recognize?
It's been in all sorts of things. Actually, throughout the years, we have partners around the world that we work with. It's been used in what is that deodorant? The men's Spice.
Old Spice.
Old Spice?
Old Spice. It's been in Old Spice commercials. It's been in a lot of commercials in the UK because we have a partner there. They own a studio and they film a lot of commercials, and they use this material as a backdrop. So we've created rooms with it where it looks like a locker room, or it looks like a kitchen, or it looks like um, even a prison. We've built a prison before with this, and you wouldn't know just because the painters are so skilled in transforming anything to look like something else. Um, and it was all built with paper. And the favorite project so far for my husband was building the spaceship for Alien Romulus, the new Alien movie. The opening scene, that entire structure where the little robot is spinning, is paper. And that was a very fun project for him because he got to be on set and see how they do their magic. He's the engineer, so he's structurally making sure everything holds. But when the people come in together as a team and they do their magic, like you see it on TV. You can't tell that it's a paper structure in space.
Isn't it amazing how the film industry works?
The magic is it's so fun. I mean, for us, we're always looking for projects like that, and we're always looking for things where Max gets to be challenged. So uh with retail and things, we've come across different challenges where he had to build an entire structure that was hung in a mall that was 4 or 5 meters long in different sections, and it was twisting and everything. And so he loves these challenges where he's like, okay, how far can I push this material, and where are the advantages or disadvantages where we have to bring other things in. But it's a lot of fun when you get to explore, and I think film is where we really get to explore how far this material can go. So the obvious thing, like you said, building walls. Like sometimes when the people are finished with it, I'm like, that's the kitchen. Like that looks like a kitchen, and I wouldn't have known it. But they would put tile on it. They would put all sorts of things, and at the end of the day, you look at the back and it's a paper structure. So we're just like, yeah, like we're done with this. This material can be tossed and that material can be recycled. So there's more advantages as we explore more things that we get to do on TV and film.
Mhm.
Um, does it also have insulating properties?
Yes, a little bit. Not a ton because it is a very airy material.
Right.
We found that when we built some counters with CBC, when they knock on it, it doesn't react the same way as when you knock on wood. And so they're
Right.
finding that that is an advantage that nobody actually realized until they're like, oh, we're not hearing all the sounds in the mic anymore when the host is tapping on the table and things. because yeah, it absorbs it a lot better. And for the people on set, it's been a lot easier for them to move things around, adjust the lighting, and all things like that.
Mhm.
So CBC is, I'm very proud Canadian, so I'm very happy that our national broadcast is using our material for their structures, and we're building sets with them. And I love that Canada is so on board to creating their sets with something sustainable.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
So can you just quickly, so we understand, I mean, you're talking about how Max, is engineering structures and whatnot. How does it
Mhm.
work for him to work with, like, let's say production design or the construction folks on a film set? How does that dynamic work for you?
So usually, we have a talk with the art director first. So
Okay.
they'll show us what they want something to look like, and they're like, "Hey, can you build this structure? It needs to function like this, and it needs to look like this." So that's where we start. And then the designers come in with the visuals, and then Max goes and he begins to engineer it. But in the midst of the engineering, he's already talking to lighting and electrical and everyone else who needs to either put screens on or put plaster on or whatever, because he needs to know the weight and needs to know how that whatever they're putting on it will react with the material. And so it's a very collaborative process where starts with a simple drawing from the art director where they're like, "Hey, this is the set we're creating. This is the piece we need." And then it goes to him and he starts engineering, but he has to work with the rest of the crew. And once we're on set, then usually he's working with whoever, mostly the carpenters who are there to start putting things together.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And this is the material is cut and designed in your shop, or is this something that can be done in a construction mill like other sets?
So here in Vancouver, we do it in our shop because we obviously we have all the tools necessary. But anytime we're going somewhere else, we work with partners that we know have the right CNC cutter.
Yeah.
Just because you cannot take a drill and just or a router, you can't router this material. It requires a blade to cut
Mhm.
and you can do angled cuts. And so, depending on how that shop is equipped, they can do certain things. So, for Max, usually depending on where the set is being built, we try to go as close as possible to where the set is being built. And we talk to our partners around the world to see who is where so that there's less transport costs because we
Right.
want to be able to talk to our partners and be like, "Hey, do you have the material? We'll send you the material and we need this cut and then sent to this place." So, for example, we have partners in Dallas and California. And so, if there's something happening, we usually try to choose somebody who is closer to where the event is happening so that it cuts down the shipping time. Like shipping cardboard around the world is just doesn't make sense, right? And so, the less traveling, the better, for us, and so that's what we try to minimize. So, we work with very close partners, because a lot of our projects, do require NDAs and things like that, so there are very specific people that we work with, um, to maintain, just, you know, consistency as well as respecting, who we're working with.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you've done lots of projects, you and Max and the team. Do you have any like moonshot projects that you're looking at, or anything that you're like, this is our BHAG, big hairy audacious goal of like where we want to have a structure made somewhere,
Um
whether it's film or other, other sort of activations.
oh. There's a lot of dream projects. Like, I've always wanted to see if we could do something at the Met. That would be really cool.
Mm.
Um, Max has dreamed up structures that he already has renderings of dream building and but there are things I can't really talk about that we're really hoping to happen. Just a couple months ago, we were at Disney World and we were working with them and doing the Disney on Broadway thing, and I'd love to do more with them because they are a creative bunch,
Mhm.
and so really hoping that we get to do a little bit more with Broadway and things, to do things on set or events with them, just to present, this material as a possible set design option for everything that they do there. Because it's so interesting how in theater things are done to tell a story, and I think that's where Max and our passions is how do we tell stories, and how can we build structures that can tell stories and work with people who are doing that already. And so those are more the types of things we want to get more into. um yeah, there is a moonshot thing. I can't really talk about it. And so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's definitely the only restriction, I guess, would be it can't be somewhere where it gets rained on, right? That would be
Correct.
the
But the
yeah.
surprising thing is there are new solutions coming out that are actually green. And so I'm actually in process of doing a few experiments and tests to see how well these solutions work. There's a spray-on solution that I'm looking at right now, and we'll see because we have to test it. And we have to
Mhm.
test it in the Vancouver rain and see
Yeah.
how it holds up. But there are some really incredible things happening actually in the world of paper and waterproofing that's all sustainable. There's a company I tried to work with, but it didn't work with our material, sadly. We did tests in Europe with it, and I was very disappointed because I was like really hoping that their technology will work, and they're just located here on Vancouver Island. It's a company that waterproofs cardboard actually for the food industry. And I was like, this is so cool. Can you do my material? And unfortunately, when they tested, it just didn't work. I think it's too thick or too many layers. I'm not sure what it is, but it did not get to the waterproofing level that they're happy with, nor that I would be happy with. And so I'm like, you guys are the scientists, you know best. So
Yeah.
we've tried, yeah. But I was really hoping that solution could have worked because it's such a natural solution. And it would go back into our recycling system without issue.
Mhm. But I guess
Mhm.
that's the beauty of material science and innovation, and there's always, something new and exciting coming out, and, you can do a lot with this product already.
Mhm.
Um, so, um so I just find it all fascinating, and anything we can do to, substitute for Luan, I think it was like, in my mind, that's golden. So I'm really excited about
Yeah.
this and seeing what you guys are doing in the trajectory.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Where can people find out more about your exciting reboard product?
Our website, nordwerk.co, I think. Yes, that is
okay, let's say that again. Let's say it again.
N
Just to
Nordwerk.co, Nordwerk. And also our Instagram, we try to show, whatever projects we can show, um, on there as well, just for people to get their creative ideas going. That's where you guys can find us, and on LinkedIn. And so, anybody can contact us, email us if they have questions, or if they just want to see if they can get some material, their hands on some material to try their own project. Because, I'd love for people just to take it and explore. The more people using it, the more, everyone can be encouraged to find sustainable solutions to what they're building with. So, for me, the less trees we're cutting down for temporary purposes,
Mhm.
the better. Because
Yeah.
this is where the material shines. It's great for temporary projects and structures.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for all the hard work that you're doing and testing and, interesting structures that you're pursuing. It's great and we really appreciate you telling us about it.
No, thanks for having me.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Social media is by Sharon Ewan. Our editor and producer is Rachel Werbel.